This is the Crush Crowdfunding Podcast, the #1 place for people who want to launch on Kickstarter and Indiegogo. My name is Nalin, and I invite you to join me for tips, hacks, and insights to get you launched and fully funded. Hey everyone, welcome to another session of the Crush Crowdfunding Podcast. I'm really excited to have you here today and to really talk to you about crowdfunding and how you can absolutely crush your goal on Kickstarter and absolutely crush your goal on Indiegogo. Everyone who launches a crowdfunding campaign goes through what I like to call the crowdfunding valley of death. What this typically looks like is that at the beginning of your project, you get a huge spike in backers and funding, especially if you've had that pre-launch that you've done beforehand and you've done it successfully, right? You found your audience and you're just driving all these people into your crowdfunding campaign right when you launch. So you have that huge spike at the beginning. And as time goes on, things start to die down a little bit. Things start to kind of slow down and die down. And at the end, in the last few weeks, in the last few days of your crowdfunding campaign, boom, it goes up again and you have more backers and more funding again as those last minute backers, those last minute purchasers, those last minute pre-order people who have that final FOMO come into your project and start backing your campaign at the end. But you see, there's that middle section of the campaign, that middle part where things start to slow down, really, really slow down. This is synonymous with momentum. You start off strong, and then you realize you're not getting a lot of pledges and backers as time moves on. Here's what this looks like. Number 1, you're not getting any more backers, or you're getting very few during this time. Number 2, the campaign just starts feeling like it's failing because things are just kind of stopping and not progressing forward. It feels like no one new is backing your project and you don't really understand why. A lot of people from Kickstarter and Indiegogo and the marketplace, they were really backing your project when you launched, but for whatever reason, it stopped and it's very frustrating. You don't really know what to do about it either. You're just unsure how to revitalize your campaign. And at this time, I tend to find that a lot of people in this phase of the category, if they're in this crowdfunding valley of death, they tend to panic. And they tend to panic a lot. Like, we don't know what to do. What should we do? And they end up making really, really bad decisions and investing in things that just aren't good for the campaign, or they're trying to buy ad space and just kind of throw money into lists, buying lists of people are just kind of throwing money down the drain, just making poor decisions. And they tend to get really, really sad and have this loss of morale, especially if you have a team. But I wanted to talk to you about this today because 1, it's really inevitable and it happens with every single campaign out there. There might be people out there who say that the mid-campaign slump, this crowdfunding valley of death, is something that you can completely kind of eliminate, completely remove when it comes to your crowdfunding campaign, when it comes to your Indiegogo project, when it comes to your Kickstarter project. But I say that this thing is inevitable and you just have to plan for it and plan for what to do so that you don't freak out when you get into the campaign and you start seeing backing slow down and you start seeing funding slow down. When we look at examples from the real world, right? A lot of things have cycles. E-commerce companies and e-commerce projects have cycles too. Lots of people buy products online when it comes to Black Friday, when it comes to the holiday season, because everyone wants to get gifts for people they love. And then things start slowing down. People stop spending money. Less people are online just paying for things because 1, they've spent all their money already for other people for the holiday season. And 2, they're kind of away with their families doing their own thing. And this goes on and on and on. And again, with e-commerce and any kind of online shopping, these cycles come and go and come and go and come and go. And they keep looping and looping and looping. It just keeps going throughout the 12 months of the year. And let's be honest, crowdfunding has its cycle too. And this cycle is that, again, that spike at the beginning, that little kind of dip towards the middle of the campaign and that spike again at the end where you have those last minute backers. What you can really do as a creator is to firstly not freak out when you hit the valley of death, when you hit this mid part of your campaign, because one, it happens to everybody. So you don't have to be scared that this is happening to you and it's happening to no one else, and you're getting scared that you're doing something wrong. You start getting the imposter syndrome, and you just kind of start freaking out and just finding ways to spend money, right, to make this go away. Instead of freaking out, I would like you to reimagine what this time is. Instead of the crowdfunding valley of death, let's just take a new look at this particular time and take this time to really spend and understand your backers, really understand who it is that has come to really support you in your campaign and in your launch. Take the time to re-engage with people who have already committed to spending funds with you. With crowdfunding, in the 30 to 60 days of your campaign, literally anyone can refund their support for you at any time at all. This is especially pronounced in Kickstarter because once someone pledges to your campaign, their contribution to your project actually isn't taken from their bank account, from their credit card until the last day of the campaign, once the campaign is actually funded, right? So what this means is that people have so many opportunities and so much time and so many chances to refund their support for your campaign. They have so much time to take that money out of your campaign, to take that contribution away from your project and put it elsewhere, like something that they can buy right away on Amazon, something else that pops up on Kickstarter or Indiegogo, something else that might have come from left field, right? There's so many opportunities for people to just withdraw funding from your campaign. So instead of taking this dip in your project as a time for you to freak out that no backers are coming in and no new funding is coming in, take this time to really, really double down on the people who have contributed funds already. Take it as a time to take a breather, analyze your information, and re-engage with your backers. Right? That's why it's so important to have content ready beforehand. That's why it's so important. And I always recommend having additional content to release as surprises or to release for your backers during the campaign period itself. Some things to consider is, additional reviewers. If you're already working with some reviewers, some people doing YouTube videos about your project, some people doing write-ups on a blog about your project, some people doing like an unboxing of your project, or some people doing some sort of like a shout out on social media for your project, or anything at all. Make sure that you're saving some of these reviewers and some of these shout outs and some of these people to the central part of your campaign too, because that's new content to tell your backers about, right? That's new content to show people that you're still in this, you're still invested, and there's still so many people excited about your project, so that these backers don't think, hey, the campaign's gone quiet for a while now, I should just kind of withdraw my money, right? Because nothing's really happening. So when you're preparing your plan, your promotional plan, your campaign plan, your marketing plan, make sure to not only plan for that launch day, that big launch day where you have a lot of people buzzing and talking about your project, but also plan for those other days between the 30 and 60 days of the campaign too, to continue releasing new content from, third-party reviewers. That's social proof that you can get from new people. The next thing that you can do to really, really re-engage with your backers is outreach to new people who might want to cover your game. Now that you have backers in your repository, now that you have backers on Indiegogo and in Kickstarter, the cool thing is that you can just reach out to them and say, hey, I saw that you backed my project. I saw that you backed my product. Can you tell me more about what interested you about this product? Can you tell me more about where you heard about this product? Can you tell me more about where you read to learn more about this particular topic, what podcasts you like to listen to learn more about this particular topic, what kind of YouTube channels you like to watch to learn more about this particular topic, because that gives you information about new places to outreach to. This gives you a new starting point, a new data reset with an audience that is actually paying you, so that you can go out and find more of the same type of audience that will potentially pay you too. So let's take an example. If you're launching a new type of smart pen, for example, and you find out that a backer really loves to learn more about office tools, office supplies, things they use in the office, and that there's this one person who podcasts about this in the space, who podcasts and reviews new projects and new tools and new time-saving tips and hacks for the office, and you think, wait a minute, I'm launching this new smart pen, and this person, this podcaster, likes to talk about new things that they can review to help other people with their office supplies, with their office stuff, with their time-saving hacks in the office. And this backer who's actually spent money on my project listens to this podcaster. That is an incredible data point for you to use, right? Because what that means is you can go out and get in touch with that podcaster and potentially be on the show so that you can talk about your new projects and be exposed to a bunch of new people that will potentially also like your product, just like that first backer you talked to likes your product. So again, when you have backers and when you have people who are already committed to paying money for your product, for the thing that you're creating and the thing that you're launching, be sure to talk to them. Be sure to understand who they are, why they like your product, why they're here, why they're supporting you, because you can find so many insights with them. Take this time where you can actually, where there's slow down in backing, slow down in funding, where you can actually take a pause and take a breather and things aren't just kind of on fire everywhere, right? Take this time to really get to know your fans so that you can have new data points for outreach, so that you can find new people and new ways to get a wider audience or a more targeted audience. Let's take another example. If you're launching a new pair of really comfortable pants that moms like to wear at home, and you talk to your fans and you find out that, hey, this one fan really loves following this YouTube personality who is kind of a mom herself and likes to try on different pants, likes to try on different clothes, likes to talk to their fans about the different kind of new apparel that they find on the internet. Boom, that's one great way for you to go out and get in touch with them and potentially be featured on their YouTube channel and drive those same mom audience to your same product too. And all this is because you had the time and you had the insight to actually talk to your backers and talk to the people who have contributed funds to your campaign, and you're taking that data point and using it to find new audiences and find the right, more targeted audiences of other people who will potentially spend money on your campaign. Another thing I would really recommend you doing during this crowdfunding valley of death, during this mid-campaign slump, is to make sure you have additional content at the ready to release to people. What this means is that a lot of the people here, right, they've already committed in the pre-launch period to back your campaign when it launches. The floodgates opened and they came and they followed through and they contributed to the campaign. They made this campaign come to life. They've gotten you to a point of being fully funded, right? So now what you want to do is release content that makes them believe that you're going to actually pull through, right? You're going to actually create this thing and bring it to life. Things that make you credible and things that show people that you're moving forward in this process to bring the product to life. What that means is you need additional content from like the factory per se. Like if you're creating a new type of cat toy that also is a smart cat toy and tells you on your app and your phone when your cat's actually playing with the toy, if they're bored or not. If you have this new content that tells people that this is actually being tested, this is actually, you've locked down the manufacturing company, and people, the mold is already being made just because the funds have been contributed already. If you have this content from behind the scenes, tell them, because they want to know that their money is going towards making something a reality or not. They want to know that they're not just kind of flushing money down the drain. They want to know that this thing that they believe in, that they're putting money in, that they're spending money in, that they're tying up their money in, and they're not going to get this product for 3 or 6 or 9 months down the line. They want to know that this is something that will come to life, right? And for you, what this means is you need to have content. You need to have content at the ready, behind the scenes content. And you need to have content that showcases that you're getting the approvals necessary. You need to have content that you're trying to figure out shipping and getting the product shipped to people in the fastest, most economical way possible. You need to have all this content at the ready so that these people in that lull, that period of lull, they don't just say, hey, nothing's happening with this project. I'm going to just pull my funding and go elsewhere with the funding to another campaign that's more up and coming or more interactive or more engaging, because you want to be there for them and you want to be showcasing them reasons for them to stay and reasons for them to continue having these funds in your project to continue making this a reality. This crowdfunding valley of death time is also a great time to really introduce new things to your backers. So when it comes to e-commerce and when it comes to marketing and when it comes to, things outside of crowdfunding, we have this saying where the second yes is always easier than the first. Again, the second yes is always easier than the first. What this means is that, one, you've already gotten that first yes, they've gotten them over that first hump where they actually contribute funds to your project. They've actually, said, yes, I want to put in my credit card information and we'll support you. You've already gotten that buy-in. When it comes to marketing, that second yes is always going to be easier than the first yes, because again, you've already gotten that buy-in. People already trust you and believe you and see that you're going to put your effort into making this a reality. So now you're just kind of talking to a friend, a believer, someone who's a fan, a super fan in a way, because they've already contributed funds to your project. And you can actually get a second or a third or a fourth or a fifth yes too. And how people roll this out typically is twofold. One, they bring add-ons into their project, into their campaign. So for example, if you're launching a watch project, right, that first yes you need to get to is for people to actually back the watch on the crowdfunding campaign. They actually contribute funds on Indiegogo or funds on Kickstarter to back the project. Now, when it comes to getting the second yes, what you can do is do things like, hey, we've seen that a lot of our backers really, really like, this type of leather strap. And so we're adding this to the campaign, and you can also bump up your support by $10, $20, $30 just to get this leather strap in addition to your original watch that you backed for the campaign. So again, this is two yeses that you're getting from them, right? The first yes for the watch and the second yes to upsell a leather strap to them. And so during this time, when it comes to that lull, not only can you re-engage with your backers and just kind of see where they're coming from, who they are, and why they're here, but you can also upsell to them too, because they already trust you. They're already invested their funds into you, and they already, believe that you're going to make a really cool product and bring it to the market. Another thing people like to do in order to really, really kind of bump up the amount raised and kind of really work together with their backers to take them to a next level of funding is to introduce stretch goals. And stretch goals are really just that. They're goals that are a little bit stretched from what the listed goal is. So for example, if you needed $50,000 to create, say, that watch product again, and you finally already met that watch product, but if you see that, hey, if we add $10,000 more to our final funding goal, everyone can get like a moon dial or a type of moon type watch for the actual face of the watch itself. So like, wow, if you tell this to your backers, they're going to be thrilled to hear that this cool new thing is going to be added to their base reward, that this cool new thing is going to be added to their base pledge. So with that said, they're going to be more enticed to go out and talk to people and bring them into the project, or they're going to be very much enticed to just up their pledge for the campaign itself so that you can quickly add that other $10,000 to get to the stretch goal. That's 10,000 additional from the base goal so that you can get that moon face dial on their watch itself. So when it comes to this valley of death, this time where backing slows down, when funding slows down, a lot of people freak out, right? But I really, really want to tell you that you don't have to. Everyone goes through this valley of death period. Everyone goes through this period where things really slow down. Instead of taking this as a negative, right? Instead of taking this as a failure on your part to keep people coming to your campaign and keep money flowing and keep funds coming into your project, take this as a time to really just re-engage with your backers, reach out to people so that they will continue to support you. So thank you for being with me here today. If you need a crowdfunding expert, feel free to get in touch. You can get started by heading to crushcrowdfunding.com. Lastly, I would be really grateful if you could leave a review for the podcast because it will really help others who want to learn about crowdfunding just more easily find out about the podcast. Thank you so much for being here with me and for subscribing to the podcast and for continuing to listen and just being here with me to go on this journey to crowdfund your product and your idea. I will see you guys in the next session. Thanks for listening to the Crush Crowdfunding podcast at crushcrowdfunding.com. Tune in the same time next week for more ways to crush your launch.